You know, being in love is probably one of the most beautiful things in life, but it's also one of the most dangerous things. Life is all about risk. I know that. I joined the Marines as a private. Now I'm a corporal. Busted my ass, but I'm here. I want to stay a Marine for the rest of my life, or at least I wanted to. I'm in a tough spot. I married my wife 3 years ago. When I married her, I was so in love. Everything she did made me smile. How she looked at me, how she smiled, laughed, plays with her hair, I loved it all. Now I don't know if I love this woman at all. I was deployed for 8 months. While I was at the base, my brothers at the base would always tell me women only marry soldiers for benefits. You know, benefits, the pay, healthcare, education, vacations, all that. They say wives get lonely when we get deployed and bring home a friend while I'm here. I didn't listen to any of this, right? Not all women are like that, right? Well, I don't know anymore. It's not my place to say every woman is like this now. When I flew home, I had to take a 12-hour flight. I wanted to see my family so bad, a wife and a beautiful princess. Being away from my baby is like getting punched in the stomach 1 billion times until I see her again, although I chatted with her all the time. I went inside thinking they were there. I saw no one home, so I sat down waiting for them. I called my wife and she didn't pick up. No text, nothing. I went to the kitchen and I started hearing some thumps. It was coming from the basement. When I opened the door, I heard Guy moaning. I headed down quietly. It benefited me that we have a very soft, furry-like carpet. And wow, I caught my wife blowing my someone I graduated high school with. We weren't best friends or anything, but we did know each other. I couldn't believe this. Now I don't play this crap. I jumped on the bed and beat this man. Not brutally like other guys do, but enough to give him a black eye and a busted lip. He knew she was my wife. The wife was screaming not to hit him, that she's sorry. Since that moment, my home has been like being at the base. This home is nothing but ruined memories. My brothers were right about marriage, about my wife. Never again will I trust my wife, or if I divorce, I want to stay a Marine, which means it'll be a waste of time to marry again. Yes, we are still married. This was not too long ago. I regret staying with her every day. I look at her now. When she smiles at me, I just look away. When she hugs me, I just look at something else, putting one arm around her. When she tries to kiss me, I turn my head. Our favorite thing was to try out something we'd never eaten before. We would go to other states just to eat at the highest rated restaurants. We haven't done that since before the day I left for Asia. I'm just not in love anymore. When I talk about divorce, she jumps on me, saying she's so sorry, showing fake tears. She says that she will never do that again, that she loves me. She confessed to sleeping with him 3 times. So while I was away, the entire time, she only slept with him 3 times. Yeah, okay. I'll be honest, I probably should be nominated for being the most distancing husband. She cries to me, saying she misses me, that what she did was a mistake, that she'll do anything for us to be the same as before. We don't argue, but we are more than distant than enemies. She constantly suggests that we go see a counselor. All they're going to do is tell us to make up. Anything that involves touching her or making eye contact for more than 1 second, I'm not doing it. That's why I'm not going. I wasn't worried about my daughter. She looks so much like me. She has my ears, eye color, and my blonde hair. I don't need a DNA test. Even if she wasn't mine, she is my life. I would never leave her. She's the reason I don't divorce and finish off my marriage. One of my brothers at the base didn't rub it in my face. I remember they saying when you go home and find your wife on your bed with someone else, we're going to say, we told you so. But he didn't say that. He said, I'm ruining my life with the right person. He said, if I didn't divorce, I would be miserable when I could find someone great. Yay, sure. Update. I had a huge depression, going through a tough divorce, but I always had my little star with me. My baby comes and hugs me and tells me she loves me. She heals me. I'm feeling much, much better after a long, painful couple of months, but I'll continue. Shit, the pain I had to endure in boot camp is a league from this. So I'm going to continue from this, and I got my little star with me. Who knows? Maybe I'll find another woman again, but it won't be anytime soon. I learned 2 things. I can't trust people, and marriage is such a waste. I just have to be there for my daughter and myself. I hope you guys are staying safe. You'll be surprised at how many people are still getting sick. Sorry to interrupt, but if you like my content, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Now, continuing on to our story. Second story. I threw her dildos over the balcony. This happened about 12 years ago. I moved in with a girl whom I had been dating for around 8 months. Yeah, we moved kinda fast, but we both were not happy with our home lives and could afford a nice apartment together, so we said fuck it. All was well for the first few months. Then I started noticing she was being shady as fuck. She would keep her phone with her constantly and put it in her pocket while she was sleeping. Yeah, that's not suspicious or anything. Also, I worked overnights and she worked days. When I would leave for work, she would barely talk to me at all, even though sometimes we hadn't really talked or seen each other all day. Anyway, I started getting a really bad feeling as I had been through shit like this before. So I started investigating. She used my computer constantly because she didn't have her own. So I downloaded a different messenger program that she didn't know about that kept logs of the chats. She didn't know that either. So I started noticing that she was flirting constantly with other guys hardcore, but hadn't really actually physically cheated that I knew of. One day, I was working at night and told my boss about my suspicions. This was at like midnight, and we had 2 hours before anything had to be done. So he said to drive home and see if she was there. I had a bad feeling she wouldn't be. She wasn't. I texted her and just said, "Hey, where are you?" She said, "The living room watching TV." She told me she was at her friend's house. A guy I knew wanted her. She knew it too. The final kicker came about a week later when she went to a party with a bunch of her friends and didn't come home that night at all. I saw on Facebook that all her friends were online and telling stories about the party because it was over. She still wasn't home. So when she got home, she was acting extremely sweet and loving and shit. So yeah, I knew something was wrong. Finally, the end you've been waiting for. That same day, the Charter, the internet guy, was at our apartment because my internet was fucking up. While he was there, she went to give the dog a bath and happened to leave her phone on the counter. I had to do it. I looked at her texts. The very first one I saw was to a guy I didn't know, and it said, "Did you like it when I was on top?" One after that said, "Next time we'll use toys." She liked to include vibrators and shit in sex times. I snapped. I obviously had my suspicions and pretty much knew, but this was 100% confirmation. I looked at the Charter guy who was still working on the internet and said, "Dude, you gotta go. I don't even care about the internet. I just found out this bitch cheated on me." He was like, "Yep." Later. As soon as he was out the door, I lost my goddamn mind. I honestly don't remember a lot of what happened. I just remember yelling and her trying to be mad at me for looking at her phone. What I do remember was saying, "So next time you're gonna use toys, huh?" Then I proceeded to walk over to where she kept all the dildos, carrying them to our second-story balcony and throwing them off into the field behind our apartment, We had apartments below, next to, and above us. Then I left before I threw her off too. I went and sat in my car to try to regain composure, so I didn't speed out of there like a bat out of hell. Then I got to watch her wander around the field in plain view of all the neighbors and pick up her dildos. I wish I could have laughed about it then, but I definitely was in no mood. But now, every time I think about it, I can't help but laugh my ass off.